Hello, I'm a Bedrock, and there are some things in Minecraft that cannot be built by any player. Whether survival or creative, no matter how good you are at building, there are some things that can never be built by a player character, but instead can only be generated by the world itself. And let me give you one such fun example, because this right here can only generate naturally, but it's one of the most staggering examples of a thing the world can generate with, and I wanted to show you exactly how you can get this in your world with a pretty good seed in today's video. So, hello, I'm Bedrock, and welcome back to Seed Sunday. This is the weekly series where I show you seeds for Minecraft, which are basically interesting and worth checking out in some way. And this week's seed, I'm going to be honest with you, you might want to check out based on that one thing alone. Knowing the coordinates now, you can use this seed, which is on screen right now, and if you type that into any Minecraft Bedrock platform, that's any version that just says Minecraft at the top, if you type that into any Minecraft Bedrock platform, then you'll spawn in just over here. You can go check that out, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of you might just want to check it out based on that alone, but as you all do know, Seed Sunday is where we can not only show you, one particularly interesting thing in a seed, but it's also an opportunity to explain what's going on with the seed, and also a good opportunity to show you a brand new seed if you choose to use it for your survival world, some of the cool benefits you might get. So yeah, this is Seed Sunday, hope you all do enjoy. The seed came in from NoahE666, and I do want to say big thank you to him first of all, because this is quite a staggering find. But yeah, let's get straight into talking about if you do type in that seed, you're going to spawn right over here, pretty close to 0, which is always a nice spawn for Minecraft Bedrock, in my opinion. It's made even nicer by the fact that you get some pretty, reasonably rare flowers right at spawn as well. So yeah, this is where you spawn in. I make a golden beacon to mark that, and as you can see, like, okay, pretty decent spawn already. I mean, you've got the solid trifecta of having a plains biome for easy access to building and food. You've got a cave which has exposed ores right there as well. Then you also have the free resources in the form of not only the lilac flowers, but also the sugarcane, and also, all the other flowers around here, because there's some flowery forests around. But yeah, this seed is one which starts with a really great spawn, but there's one thing everyone's going to want to head straight towards, and that's towards the south of the map. But if you head there on the way, you'll notice something kind of interesting, and that is there's a lot of other weird bits of terrain on this seed. Stuff like this, for instance, where like caves generate through other caves and lead to this very strange situation where you just have exposed rock in a plains biome, a biome that's meant to be fairly flat. It's, kind of the flatland biome, but the flatland biome is very much not flat right here because it has caves generating right out here in the open. Assuming you can even call them caves, because is a cave if it's not a cave? That's a big question for you to consider, while we basically say that no, it sort of isn't, but according to Minecraft and the way it generates, it technically is, and that's how we get such messy stuff here. And it might, come to your questions to like, so if this seed has all these weird things so close to spawn, if this seed looks kind of rough, what is the cause behind that? What does the seed have to do with that? And again, this is something we can explain as we head to the south, because if you want this amazing part of the seed, you need to have about 900 blocks south of spawn. So in the meantime, we can look at ravines like this one right here and say, kind of strange ravine, but also explain what exactly happens when you type a seed into Minecraft, because as you're all probably aware, the seed you type in is just turned into binary, which the game, because this seed, this one right here, turns into this series of binary, and then when the game does calculations to work out how tall, say, an extreme hills biome should be, like right here, or how much jitter there should be, or how much, how many caves there should be and where things should spawn, all these sorts of things are determined by doing calculations with that seed value. The reason that some seeds get lucky or maybe unlucky, depending on your opinion of stuff like this, or all the sorts of things you're going to see, or indeed this, which is even closer to spawn. As you can see, it's a ravine which is cut off by a lake, which then goes into another ravine, which also has the same kind of water flowing thing. How do these sorts of things happen? And the explanation is they get either lucky or unlucky, depending on your sort of opinion on this sort of thing, but they get lucky or unlucky, depending on those sorts of calculations. The exact details sadly aren't known, and I don't think they'll ever really be known, even by the developers of the game themselves, as to what makes the perfect seed, but this is why some seeds have a lot of villages. This is one of them, by the way. They're not all near spawn, but there's a lot of villages about 500 blocks away in almost any direction you head. The reason certain seeds have lots of villages or weird plains biomes or caves exposed or that weird ravine thing, or what we're about to show you, is because of all these, factors coming into play together. Sometimes it leads to really interesting villages like this, and sometimes it leads to a desert biome that generates like this. You might recall this because, this same seed earlier in the video, we, punched just a single block, any block around here, and we got that huge chain reaction effect going all the way from this, edge of the sea to that edge of the sea. But what exactly causes that? How exactly is that possible? Why is it that like a single action can cause such a chain reaction? And again, that's another little bit of an explanation, and because this is less abstract, we can explain this directly. I figured it would be worth explaining. So in Minecraft 1.13 for Java Edition, and in Minecraft, 1.11, the update Aquatic basically, the update that changed the oceans, they added something brand new, which is the underwater caves and the underwater ravines. So this underwater ravine generates next to an ocean biome, and every now and then these underwater ocean, ravines can generate inside, because again, this one right here, as you can see, it generates at the very side of the cave, but it keeps on going and it keeps on filling with water because it's an underwater ravine. It just so happens, it doesn't really know it, but it just so happens that it spawns underneath what's going to be a desert. So then, when the desert comes along and it covers everything in sand, because that's what deserts do, all the sand is placed up there, and the sand manages to be placed without falling down. This is because when the world generation places sand, it doesn't knock it down immediately. Same with gravel. You can have floating sand, you can have floating gravel, because even though those blocks are gravity affected, they're only gravity affected after you first interact with them. Minecraft's world doesn't really notice blocks until you first interact with one, and that is why if you break a block, then any of the blocks around it are going to fall down. You can see a smaller version of this. This isn't the only time it happens on this seed. Over here, if I punch this one block, the blocks to the left and right of it, these two right here, will fall down, and then that'll cause a chain reaction, because when a block next to a block falls, that also causes that block to fall. So you can see that happen right there because of that. Here's an even smaller version, like, oh yeah, look at this. You can see the sand blocks fall down. And this right here happened because all of those factors came into play and made a pretty astounding find. So yeah, this is something you literally cannot build in Minecraft. You cannot place sand in the middle of the air because sand is a gravity affected block, unless the world's lagging or something, but it will eventually fall. But the world can do that because blocks that you haven't interacted with yet functionally don't exist in the same way that blocks you have. If I place a sand block or let's say a gold block right over here, for instance, that gold block very much exists because the game had to write that it was there. However, the way Minecraft Bedrock's engine works, and Java works the same, every Minecraft engine, rather than storing the place of every single block in the game, it only stores when you change things from the world's natural state. This is why, even though we have so many millions of blocks loaded in, the world size for all of this is about 3 megabytes right now. If you go check out this same seed in this exact same place, here by the way, coordinates in the top left, I'm sure you know that, but yeah, if you come to this exact same place in this exact same seed, with all of the blocks loaded between here and there, it's going to be a similar file size because those blocks aren't properly loaded in. Because those blocks aren't saved in the same way that a block is when you place it, and that is why they don't functionally exist in the same way, and that is why they're not affected by gravity, because the game isn't performing calculations on these, because as far as the game is concerned, until you interact with them, they don't really need to exist. It's one of the things that makes Minecraft better than a lot of other block-based games. It's something that a lot of other games fail to do, and that's why pretty much every Minecraft knockoff feels bad to play or has huge file sizes, or a combination of both, in fact. And yeah, with that said, that is a really interesting thing you might not know. But now let's explain, okay, why the chain reaction, and that's because they all happen together. And when you have a series of blocks like this, you can have a very fun thing that waits until anything happens. Any single block updating event, placing a torch, having an explosion, destroying a block can cause this to happen. And that's why I wanted to show you today's seed, because as well as being a fun opportunity to explain something, here's the other fun thing about this seed. I don't have friends, so I'm using creepers to simulate what it would be like to have someone who enjoys my company. But yeah, basically, let's say all of these creepers are my friends, and they don't know what's below this desert. Why would they? Why would you suspect that there's something below any of this desert, let alone right this block right here? So what you can do if you want to surprise your friends or shock them, or maybe even trap them as part of a PvP experiment, but what you can actually do is if you just place a single one of these sea lanterns, you can make them all fall in. You can cause a huge amount of shock and surprise. You can make them think you're a wizard, because even with commands, even with all these sorts of things, unless you have an add-on or a mod that physically disables that, or you lag out the world, there is no way you can do this yourself. Here is something you cannot build, but that is absolutely astounding to look at. Look at those creepers drowning in that pool right there. And also, here's the other fun thing, it also changes the entire surface of the bottom of the the area, because all of this sand replaces the bottom. It's a very interesting thing to find that, again, is astounding for your friends. It's astounding as a thing to look at, and it's a great example of something that is just really fascinating to see. But it is worth noting it happens once and then it's one and done. That's why this isn't a Seed Sunday, which I recommend lasting you forever. If you want a long-term survival world, maybe this isn't the perfect way to do it, because although this is really cool to look at, it basically separates 2 bits of land when it's done. I think it's an interesting thing. It's kind of a one and done thing, so it's great for having a temporary world where you really confuse your friends eventually. But yeah, let me explain why the seed is kind of great if you are just having a day-long survival or a month-long survival or something like that, because here's the other great thing about the seed. It's filled with caves and other weird sorts of things. Like, it seems as though this seed is very, very fortunate when it comes to caves, ravines, etc., and also has all the other things you might like. So for instance, here's a lava pit right next to that water pool. I mean, that's kind of fun by itself. because as we all do know, you can use water and nether, make a nether portal. It's a really easy thing to do. But yeah, also we've got the access to the desert water. Desert water is a different color to the ocean, so maybe you can perform some fun experiments with that. Not experiments, but you can confuse your friends with like, so why is the water so different? Magic water, if they've never seen that Bedrock has different colored waters. It has 2 villages right next to this ravine. Again, this area of the seed is really nice, like 2 villages, a lava pit, a water pit, a desert, a plains biome. It's all the things you want in a place to survive that also has a way to shock your friends. And yeah, I would recommend the seed because it is a slightly above average seed that has one astounding feature that stands out above the rest. And if you really want to confuse your friends, this is the perfect way to do it. Otherwise, if you want a moderately above average seed, then I would say this one is probably a good example of that. But I would really recommend checking out Seed Sunday and finding another seed that's better tailored to your interests. But I guess that's doing the YouTube thing where you promote another one of your videos, hoping that people click it, because that is what your entire livelihood depends on, people clicking videos after the original ones that they find, because that's how YouTube works. If you don't find other videos, then this video gets lost in the depths of YouTube, and I get forgotten by even the people who have subscribed to me, because YouTube has determined that if people are not regularly clicking their videos, then they probably don't want to be subscribed and don't want to see your regular new uploads. And that means when you put a lot of effort into content, then people aren't going to see it, and that is something that can cause the downfall of a YouTuber, because when you put a week into a video and only a few people see it, that can be really depressing. So that is why I'm recommending that you check out another Seed Sunday, but also because I think the seed is beaten by a lot of the other ones in the catalog, and indeed will be beaten by ones that come up in the upcoming weeks, because we're still on the hunt for that 7 blacksmith seed, and you better believe I'll let you know as soon as we do find it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching today's Seed Sunday. You can like it if you did like it, you can share it if you really liked it, and you can do neither of those things if you didn't, if you felt neutral about this video, if you thought, you know, there were good bits, there were bad bits, and you know, if you thought that, then hit the I'm too neutral to hit like or dislike button, or hit them both at the same time. See what happens. I mean, what does happen if you dislike a video then like it? Does the like overwrite the dislike? Can you dislike and like at the same time? Why not find out by hitting those buttons on YouTube? Either way though, this is the end of my time talking to you, because I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.